The last time we saw Manie Libbok play for the Springboks was in the semi-final of the Rugby World Cup last year. Rassie could have played him against Wales a couple of weeks ago, but opted to start Jordan Hendrikse, and now Manie Libbok has also missed out on the team to face Ireland this weekend. With the competition at fly-off at an all-time high, could this be the end of the road for Manie Libbok in a Springbok top? Now, as always, leave your thoughts down in the comments, but for just this video, I'm going to ask that you watch the entire video so that you get the full picture before you put comments down in the comment section. Make sure you like this video and absolutely mur that subscribe button. Let's get into this video. So let's rewind the clock back to 2023 Rugby World Cup. Now, Manie Libbok was the go-to flyer for the Springboks for the World Cup. That's because Handré Pollard was injured, and if you remember correctly, we actually left Handré Pollard at home on the standby list, and then there was an injury to Malcolm Marx, and then Handré Pollard joined the team in the fourth round of the group stages to face Tonga. Now at the World Cup, Manie played 5 games. He started 4 of them, came off the bench in 1 of them. He ended up scoring 22 points, 5 conversions, but if we then take a look at Handré Pollard's stats, who played 4 games, only started 2 of them, and amassed 33 points. He had 6 conversions, so 1 more than Manie Libbok, and even Damian Willemse had 5 conversions in the Rugby World Cup. Now, it's no secret that Manie's boot is the thing that has been letting him down at fly-off. Now, again, keep your comments and your opinions until the end of the video so that we can come full circle and really get a full picture on this. We then fast forward to the URC quarterfinals this year, where Manie Libbok and the Stormers took on the Glasgow Warriors away from home. Now, the Stormers ended up crumbling in that game and losing that game, and I do think Manie was a big factor to why they ended up losing that game. Manie missed 2 conversions and 2 penalties. He didn't kick anything over in that game, and if he had, then the Stormers would have been in a completely different position going into halftime, and I do think that could have potentially changed the trajectory of that entire game, and the Stormers could have even advanced to the semi-finals. Now, it is a lot to put all of that blame onto one player, especially the fly-off. Manie does so many other good things right, but it's no secret that his boot has let him down in the World Cup and towards the back end of the URC season. What makes Manie so special, though, is his attacking capabilities. I don't think we have another fly-off within the Springbok system that has quite the attacking ferocity that Manie Libbok does. Yes, his defense needs a little bit of work. It's not bad at all, and obviously his boot needs a little bit of work, but the attacking capabilities that Manie Libbok provides the Springboks, it's something completely different to any other fly-off that the Springboks have at their disposal. If you look back to that Scotland game in the Rugby World Cup, Manie Libbok had that beautiful cross kick, that no-look cross kick. They ended up scoring in the corner. Manie just creates things and can see things that maybe a Handré Pollard can't, maybe a Siya Masuku or Jordan Hendrikse can't at the moment. And I do think if Manie Libbok had the whole package, if he had that BMT, that kicking capability, then he would be our number 1 fly-off. Now, the next thing I want to look at is the depth, and probably the reason why Manie Libbok hasn't been picked for the Ireland game, and understandably why he wasn't picked for the Wales game. If you have a look at the 5 fly-offs that the Springboks have at their disposal at the moment. Now, before I get into that, just think about back to the Rugby World Cup where we only had Manie Libbok as a fly-off. Faf ended up slotting into fly-off in some games when Manie went off or wasn't starting. And now all of a sudden, the Springboks have 5 players that could potentially put on that number 10 jersey for the Springboks. So first and most obvious one is Handré Pollard. Now, bear in mind, Handré Pollard is 30 at the moment, so he probably has 1 more, if not 2 more World Cups left in him. Manie Libbok is 26. So if Manie continues this form, he can play 2027, he can play 2031, and even potentially 2035. You've got Siya Masuku, who's now 27 and has kind of jumped onto the scene. We're going to go into depth on all of these players. I'm just giving you their age for a bit of reference. Then you've got Jordan Hendrikse, who's new blood. He's 23. And you've got Sasha Fynbog Ngumazulu, who has just burst onto the scene and is only 22 years of age. Now, let's dive a little bit into Handré Pollard. What makes Pollard so good is his big match temperament, his game management. The pressure moments don't seem to get to Handré Pollard. You could bet anything that Handré Pollard is going to kick a conversion or a penalty to win us the game, no matter the circumstances. We saw it in the 2023 Rugby World Cup. We saw it in the 2019 Rugby World Cup. That's why Handré Pollard had 100% kick rate in the Rugby World Cup 2023, because he can just handle the pressure. Libbok, that's where he kind of falls away a bit. It seems like when the game's big, when the conditions are tough, then his boot tends to not work. Now, I am saying this. He did have a very, very good kicking display in the URC this year, better than last season. So he is improving. But when it came to that clinical game against the Glasgow Warriors, he's kind of seemed to crumble a little bit under the pressure. And yes, the conditions weren't great. There was wind, there was rain, understandably. But if Handré Pollard was in that situation, I do think Handré would have probably handled it a little bit better than Libbok did. We then move over into Sia Masuku. Now, Masuku burst onto the scene for the Sharks this season. He played a lot of rugby for the Cheetahs in the past couple of seasons. And he kind of turned the Sharks season around. He took over from Kerwin Bosch. And Sia Masuku is a very, very good flyer. He seems to brim with confidence. He also has that cool, calm, collected demeanor. I don't think he's as good as Manie Libbok on attack. And I don't think he's as good as Manie Libbok on defense. But he does have that big match temperament. Then Jordan Hendrickse got a start against Wales, and I do think this was Rassie Erasmus just sort of testing Jordan Hendrickse out. Let's throw him into the deep end and see if he swims or floats. I don't think Jordan Hendrickse had a bad game. Yes, he missed a kick. He kicked one dead. He kicked one out on the full. But overall, Jordan Hendrickse's defensive game is probably the best out of all 5 of these guys. His attacking capabilities are also very, very good. The chances he created against Wales just didn't come off. He slipped when he ran through gaps. Passes didn't come off. So I do think Jordan Hendrickse has the potential to be one of the best flyers in a Springbok top, just with a little bit more experience, with a little bit more time in the system. And then you've got Sasha Fynbogum Gumazulu, who came on against Wales, looked like he belonged, looked very confident and comfortable, slotted that 55-odd meter kick. You saw Rassie Erasmus's reaction, very, very chuffed with that selection and him coming on. Now, there seems to be this perception that Sasha Fynbogum Gumazulu is almost going to shut the door on Manie Libbok. Now, you have to bear in mind, Manie Libbok has played 14 or 15 caps for the Springboks. He's been in the system for the best part of a year. He's played through a Rugby World Cup with the Springboks. He was arguably one of the reasons why we got to the knockout stages in the Rugby World Cup. I think at the moment, yes, Sasha had a good 20-odd minutes against Wales, but South African fans, as we are very emotional, we reactive rather than proactive. So when someone does something good or someone does something bad, you see Sasha Fynbogum Gumazulu have a good 20 minutes. Now everyone loves Sasha Fynbogum Gumazulu. You see Manie Libbok not have a great game for the Springboks, and there's just this hate train onto the player. We also saw it with Jordan Hendrickse. Maybe didn't have a great game against Wales, and people start doubting the player. But what you have to understand as fans, what we have to understand is that time in the Springbok system. Robbie Gillette said it when he was on the channel. Rassie Erasmus values time in the system, understanding the system. How do the Springboks work? What is their ethos? What is their mentality? And I think Manie Libbok has that mentality. He is, for me, our second choice fly-off at the moment. I think no one can be as good as Pollard when Pollard is really on song and he's kicking well and he's passing well and he's defending well and creating opportunities. But I do think Manie Libbok's ceiling is not much, but is higher than Handré Pollard. If Manie can sort out his boots, if he can sort out his mentality in those big matches, in a quarterfinal, in a Rugby World Cup semi-final, if he can just sort his mentality out in his BMT, I do think Manie Libbok could be our fly-off leading into 2027. I think he provides a lot more on attack. He provides the Springboks different points of contact. He can take on the line. He can beat defenders. His defense is pretty good. I would say probably on par with Handré Pollard. So for me, Manie Libbok, a confident on-song in-form Manie Libbok is more dangerous than Handré Pollard. Now, again, you have to look at Sia Masuku, Sasha Fynbogum Gumazulu, and Jordan Hendrickse. I think Sasha is going to fill that utility back position for us over the next couple of years, and I do think he's probably better suited at 12 or 15. Sia Masuku, we still have to wait and see how he performs in a Springbok jersey. We'll probably see him against Portugal. And then Jordan Hendrickse, also, I think he's probably a bit of a better 12 when he's played for the Lions. I've been very impressed with him at 12. So I do think between Pollard and Libbok, Pollard on a normal playing field on an average day is better than Manie Libbok, but I do think Manie Libbok has a higher ceiling. And if, hopefully not, but if Handré Pollard gets injured in the next year or so and we don't have him again for the 2027 Rugby World Cup, I do think Manie Libbok will be our first choice fly-off. And I just think us fans need to just chill out a little bit. Manie Libbok is a very, very good playmaker. Once he sorts out his boots, once he sorts out his mentality, he's going to be an absolutely lethal weapon in that number 10 jersey for the Springboks. So that's my case. Now you guys can go down and comment your opinions, and we can have a little bit of a discussion down in the comments. If you haven't, leave this video a like and make sure you absolutely murder that subscribe button. Let's go Bokke.